So today I wanted to talk about the good and the bad and how our outlook on life events shapes who we are and how we view the world. So I'm just going to start out with this proverb that I always like to share that just encompasses the whole idea. So there's this farmer and he has a horse. The horse runs away. His neighbor says, "Oh, what bad luck." And the farmer says, "Maybe so, maybe not." A couple days later, the horse comes back with 3 wild mares. And the neighbor says, "Oh, what good luck." And the farmer says, "Maybe so, maybe not." Later, when the son is trying to break one of the mares, he gets bucked off, falls off and breaks his leg. His neighbor says, "Oh, what bad luck. Maybe so, maybe not." And the next week, the army comes in looking for all able-bodied young men to help fight in the war. And the son can't go because he broke his leg. And the neighbor says, "Oh, what good luck." The farmer says, "Maybe so, maybe not." So you can see where this is going, that whatever event we look at individually and we label it as good or bad, that single event might have a ripple effect on so many other events in your life. And it's easier to look back in hindsight and see, oh, this happened and this brought me to where I am now. So even though that was seen as a bad event, an uncomfortable situation, it actually turned out for the better. So we're running on this timeline, right? And we're going like this: bad, good, bad, good, bad, good. All these events that are happening on this median line that is going to maybe a destiny or some sort of a destination, maybe not, we don't really know. But, if you're on your optimal timeline for following your dharma, for following your life purpose, why you're here, then you'll be dipping up and down, up and down. What happens, especially in our Western world, is that we get so caught up in what we think is important and what society tells us is important that we get off track completely. So we might be, our timeline is like this and we're going like this, and maybe we're even going out over here. So the universe wants to keep us in check and keep us along this timeline. So when we get too far out of whack on this timeline, often that's when things start to happen to try and bump us back to that timeline. And it's subtle at first. For me personally, I battled with depression and I just knew something was off. I knew I wasn't where I was supposed to be. And often I would just follow my intuition as to where I thought I was supposed to be. And then when I would get there or get to what I was doing, then the depression would stop, or the circumstances would just start to align because I knew I was exactly where I was supposed to be. So, and it's not always that easy, especially when we're trying to work our jobs and provide for our kids, and we don't even necessarily know what we're supposed to be doing or what's important. But oftentimes you just know, and when you're so far off course, that's when some of the big things happen. And I don't know, you've probably heard people say that going through their divorce was the best thing that ever happened to them, or getting cancer or some illness was the best thing that ever happened to them. And at the time, of course, it's awful, it's terrible, it's life-changing, it's earth-shattering. But when you get past that point, maybe several years later, maybe 10 years later, maybe the end of your lifetime, you look back and you're like, wow, when that happened to me, it was the best thing because it brought me out of where I thought I was supposed to be. And oftentimes you wouldn't do it on your own. You wouldn't step outside your comfort zone. You wouldn't, just go off and do exactly what you wanted to do if everything just stayed the same. So I invite you to maybe look at some of the things in your life that you see as bad. Perhaps this time right now, if you're struggling, and you see it as, why is this happening to me? And realize that it's happening to everyone in the world. Everyone's lives are upside down. But, you know, maybe in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, we realize that this was the best thing that could happen for the planet, for our economies, for the way that we operate as a collective species. So we just don't know. So until you start to maybe look at the big picture, it's almost kind of pointless to delve into how terrible it is right now. So seeing if you can rise above it a little bit, seeing if you can see the big picture, that this is just a little dip, and we'll go up again, and we'll go down again, and we'll go up again. So I hope that put some of this into perspective for you, and I hope you're all having a wonderful weekend wherever you are in the world, and I wish you all the love and light.